I'll wait. So welcome to One Heart, One Mind, Tony, and I'm just gonna let you take it away. Welcome.
Thank you. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Oh, great Spirit, earth, sun, sky, and sea, you are inside and all around me, and all around me, and all around me.
Well, that was very meditative. Thank you for that. Nice grounding. Oh, can you hear me? No? Yes. Okay, good. So, welcome again. And I would like to invite our practitioner of the day, Robert Brown, to open us up with the invocation or opening prayer. And then he sent me some lovely Emerson quotes that I'll share with you.
Good morning, everybody. I invite you to close your eyes, relax, settle into whatever you're sitting on, and join me in consciousness and knowing that there is only one power, only one spirit, only one creative consciousness, and we are one with it. We commune with spirit, and we use power to create good in our lives and the lives of those for whom we speak. And as I speak, the I of whom I speak is each and every one of you and each and every one of our OHAM family who is not present today. I know that we are a group of like-minded individuals who are one with spirit and one with each other. And most importantly for today's message, we are one with nature. We are one with nature in all of its wonderful manifestations in our lives. We love nature and nature loves us because nature is God. Nature is spirit, just as we are spirit. And I give great thanks for these truths about us. I give great thanks for being able to come together in consciousness on yet another Sunday morning. I give great thanks for each and every one of us. And I release my words into the law, knowing that they are done as soon as I spoke them. And together we signify our agreement by saying together, and so it is. And because nature is a theme for today, I've chosen a couple of quotes from Ralph Waldo Emerson, whom we all know is one of the three most significant influences on our founder, Ernest Holmes, the other two being Emma Curtis Hopkins and Judge Thomas Troward. So Emerson says, the lover of nature is he whose inward and outward senses are still truly adjusted to each other, who has retained the spirit of infancy even into the era of manhood. And he also said, in the woods, we return to reason and faith. There, I feel that nothing can befall me in life, no disgrace, no calamity, which nature cannot repair. I think for me, when I am outside in nature, whether it's in the woods or on the beach, in the mountains, I feel closer to each and every person in the world. I feel my oneness with spirit and oneness with all of creation even more. And it brings me great joy. And now I'd like you to join with me in reading the quote of the day, or the quote of the month, the affirmation of the month, whatever we call it. So read with me. Whatever I need comes to me from the all good. Divine intelligence working through me always knows just what I need and supplies it when I need it. I receive my good daily as I go along the path of life. My birthright is freedom and happiness, and so it is. Now I think we have another musical interlude.
Tony, are you going to entertain us with another song?
I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. We all do it.
You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you learn things you never knew, Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or ask the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? On the hidden pine trails of the forest, Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come rolling all the riches all around you. And for once, never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends. And we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. How high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, for whether we are white or copper skin, we need to sing with all the voices of the mountain, paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all your own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind.
Oh, thank you so much, Tony. That song really touches me. I love that song. It's just the metaphor, painting with the colors of the wind, and it's just beautiful. And it really draws me into that sense of oneness. I hope that it did that for all of you as well. So, good morning. And welcome to our online spiritual community, a One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And today's Sunday message is living in harmony with all life, just like that song portrayed for us, which of course includes us. It includes us living in harmony with ourselves as well. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit, about being in harmony with all life, ourselves included, and what we can learn and discern from nature. So, you know, when COVID hit, early in 2020, and we had to figure out very quickly how to stay together as a community without being in each other's physical presence. You know, it was kind of, there was a real gotta do it now moment, you know. And we discovered the online format was such a blessing, you know, the fact that we could continue to be together and have Sunday service, classes, workshops, and everything was such an incredible gift. But I have to admit that in the back of my mind, in the back of my head was this idea that someday things will get back to normal and we'll be in person again. You know, it was almost like the online format was a good alternative, but kind of our second choice, you know? Now, I don't know if that was true for you or if you ever felt that way at all. But I think how we feel about our online community is worth taking a look at. You know, how do we feel about our online community? So if this second choice idea was true for you or still is true for you, I'd like to invite us all to look at this a little differently, you know, to shift our perception around the idea of an online community, because like all things we experience in our lives, our beliefs about them, either conscious or unconscious, directly affect the way they unfold in our lives. And in this case, the way they unfold in our spiritual community. We are a community of collective consciousness. Everyone that is a part of this community or ever has been. So I'd like to kind of briefly address how we feel about being an online community so that we can be clear about it. You know, there are certain things that an online community cannot provide. you know, hugs, for example, community potlucks. And there is a certain vibe that you can feel in the air when you're actually in someone's presence. Although I have to admit that I think you can feel that same vibe online, just, you know, being in the idea or the consciousness of the person. But to be perfectly honest, I feel closer to the people that show up regularly at our Sunday services and especially our weeknight events than I ever did when we were actually in the same room. You know, when we're online, we're face to face, especially in our classes where we know it's a safe and confidential environment. I've gotten to know many of you on a much deeper level than I would have in just that social hour after the service or even in the class. And I just feel very connected to you. And I'm so incredibly grateful for this online community. And now that things are opening up again, we can definitely have some in-person events for those times that we really want to hug, you know, especially for those of us that live in the same part of the country. And for those that are out of the area, they can surely find in-person events where they can get a hug or have a potluck or be in the room with someone, like-minded people that have those same kind of vibes. So I'd like to pose a question to us as a community. Is the way we think and feel about being an online format holding us back in any way? Are we unconsciously still thinking of being an online community as second best? And if so, maybe it's time for us to release that idea so that we can fully open and express God's vision for one heart, one mind, Center for Spiritual Living as a collective community. And to make space to be all that we can be as an online community, to be the fullest expression of God that we can be through this amazing technological tool. So I just want to put that out there for our consideration and to remind us of the metaphysical principle that God can do for us only what God can do through us. Let's ask ourselves, are we standing in the natural flow of good that wants to express as our online community? Grounded in the idea of connection and support and love and compassion and service. And of course, as this is true in our community, it's also true in every area of our lives. Whatever we make space for, whatever we cast a vision for, has to unfold in our experience. So I invite us to keep in the forefront of our conscious awareness the many advantages and gifts there are in being an online spiritual community. We know as metaphysicians that our perception, the pattern of our thinking and feeling, whether conscious or unconscious, is what we are going to demonstrate in our experience. And so I invite all of us to keep in our thoughts and our feelings the things that we'd like to see more of for our community, for our expansion and our growth and the continued presence of one heart, one mind as a presence of love and light for good in the world. And I want to invite you, if you have any suggestions for events or ways to connect online, I'd love to hear them. Please pop me an email or a text or just give me a call. I know that our collective consciousness focused on the possibilities for one heart, one mind is a catalyst for change in the world. And since we're online, I invite you to share our Sunday Zoom link or our midweek classes link with your friends and family. They don't even have to be in our geographical area. So I just really wanted to talk about this thing that we're doing together every Sunday and that we do during the week online, and to invite you to hold its magnificence and an expansion and its presence of light and love in the world. So having said that, you know, as Robert said in his beautiful opening invocation and quotes, this month we're talking about nature, the nature of the universe and our place in it. You know, we've turned to nature which includes everything throughout the universe. We're talking about everything: oceans, deserts, trees, insects, stars, galaxies, and all of the laws that support their existence and their growth. We're looking at nature to help us understand our world and our place in it. You know, we've looked at how intelligent, ordered, and balanced the natural world is, and how that same intelligence, that same order and balance runs through us, that we're immersed in that same power that runs through everything in the natural world. Everything. You know, we've talked about the omnipresence, the omnipotence, and the omniscient nature of this presence. You know, this presence, which has been called by 1,000 different names, none of which change the nature of this presence in any way. It remains the all-present, all-powerful, and all-knowing nature of reality. You know, but today what I'd really like to focus on is our oneness in this presence, that we are supported and how we are empowered in our daily lives to take this idea of this all beautiful presence, natural order of the universe, and say, how can I use it? How is it mine in my daily life? You know, and it's great to know this stuff, you know, but how do we use it? How do we participate with this omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient presence, you know, in our humanness, in our dailiness? And what tools can we draw on, can we use to move into a greater sense of flow and participation with this divine presence, even when we might not always like what we see and experience? Genesis 1:27, it says, I wrote it down, God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. I really like that idea, but what does it actually mean, in his own image? I would even lose the gender, in its own image. From a metaphysical perspective, image is used here not as physical attributes, but as qualities of life. We're made in the likeness of Spirit's love, compassion, energy, wholeness, and joy. And the divine breathes this nature into all of life, not just human beings. It doesn't hold back its beingness from any one species over another. Wherever life is present, all of God is present. God is the one presence back of anything, of everything, of all life. You know, and there's another passage in the Bible that I wanted to read to you as well. It's in Job. Both of these are in the Old Testament, which is kind of interesting. I didn't really plan it that way. But the second one is in Job 12, 7 through 10. And anyway, it reads, but ask the animals and they will teach you. The birds of the air and they will tell you. Ask the plants of the earth and they will teach you. And the fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord God has done this? In his hand is the life of every living thing and the breath of every human being. Oh, I just love that. You know, we have always known that. It is inherent, innate within us that we know our connection. We're all connected. We're one with all the beings in the universe. God is present everywhere. And so I'm going to invite you to ask yourself this ongoing, empowering question that you can ask yourself this whenever you forget who you are. I want you to ask yourself, who am I? And then draw that truth up from the knowing of your heart and your mind, from that inherent knowingness, just like these authors of the Old Testament Bible were telling us. God's in everything. It's present right here. Who are you? Who am I? And draw that into the forefront of your mind and your heart when you don't know, when you forget. You know, experiencing that uplifting of oneness with with the experience of your godness. We did that this morning in our meditation. We experienced our godness and sat in that. And then a second empowering question that I think is valuable to ask ourselves is, how can I reveal more of who I am in my life? You know, we are reflections of the image of the creator of all things. And since we know that this life presence that we call God or all the other names is continually knowing and expressing itself through and as its creation, we know, as Ernest Jones, our founder, told us, that there is within us the seed perfection. And that just as a tomato has within its seed the essence of a tomato, or a carrot, or an apple, we have within us the essence of the perfection of the divine expressing perfectly as us. The perfection of God expressed as a human being, a unique human being at that, because we know that the Creator never repeats itself. So we have this joyous opportunity to express that seed perfection in our own unique way. And we don't even have to go anywhere to find it. We just have to connect with what is already there, what is already within us. And because God is omnipresent and right where we are, the seed perfection is the heart of who we are, and reminding ourselves daily that spirit is omnipresent, is right where we are. And within the activity of all life all around us, it helps us to see that even when things pop up in our lives that it might take us by surprise, or that we don't really like the way they look, we don't think they should be this way, underneath everything that happened is that seed perfection, is that order, harmony, and balance that is rising up from beneath it. Because life, spirit, God uses everything, all activity, for the continued expression of good, of love, of itself, even when it may seem a little uncomfortable to us. I read this story. I wanted to share this story. I was like throwing a story. I read a story about a woman named Linda, and she had a job. And she really didn't enjoy her job. She really didn't like it. But she stayed with it because she felt she needed the money. Ever been there? I've done that before. But every day she went to work feeling like she was obligated to endure this drudgery. You know, she felt intimidated by her boss, unappreciated by her coworkers. And then one day, she inadvertently, accidentally, offended one of her clients. And the client was furious. He demanded that she be fired. And her boss accused her of incompetence and insisted that she apologize and make things right with this client, to do whatever it takes to get this client back. So Linda kind of retreated into despair. Oh man, ever do that? I've done that. She didn't want to lose her job, but she also didn't want to have to face the person that she felt had it in for her. So the whole situation took Linda right to the edge, right to the end of what all of her resources that she thought she had, and of her sanity. She didn't know what she was going to do or how she was going to manage a meeting with her client. She knew her boss was going to be there scrutinizing everything she did or said. So what she did finally is she had an epiphany. Linda had an epiphany. She realized that this wasn't the first time that she'd been in this situation, that this situation was reminiscent of the overwhelm she'd felt after her 2 failed marriages had brought her to that crossroads in her life. She'd forgotten who she truly was, and she'd forgotten her inherent wholeness and her oneness with the omnipresent spirit that never abandons us. She had forgotten that she was never abandoned. She knew this pattern well. Has this ever happened to you where you repeat this pattern even though the characters and the situation might look different? And she realized that underneath the details that made the situation unique, the same story was unfolding. She wasn't connected to her wholeness, to her godness that's always within her. So here's what she did. She sat down in meditation and asked her innermost wisdom, God, Spirit, what resources she needed in order to be in this experience without feeling diminished. And it occurred to her that what she was missing was a true appreciation of her own worth and her own value. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've fallen into that trap, but no more. So when Linda entered the meeting, she took a leap of faith and she asked for an apology from her client. And her boss, she asked for an apology from her boss as well, who was not appreciating her talents or her abilities. And she gave herself exactly what she always sought from others: love, appreciation, compassion. But in the end, she did lose her job. But here's the thing. She went on to discover that she had a passion for community service, and she ended up becoming a paramedic, which she found out was the calling of her own heart, of her own soul. So while this job that she really did not like ended, she opened to what her life was meant to be, to the purpose and the meaning, because God is always omnipresent and always right there, even in the midst of adversity. You know, in the middle of adversity or conflict, sometimes we think that it's all coming from the world to us, that we are somehow victimized from it. But actually, this may be the way in which Spirit is guiding and directing us to what we and where and who we should be in the world. It rises up from within us as an effect of two competing intentions. Have you ever seen that? In one case, she wanted to be safe and okay, and in this job that she knew she had. And on the other hand, she had this desire to fulfill her soul's purpose. And our purpose is always to bring that seed perfection into fruition, whatever it is. So knowing and feeling the omnipresent nature of God allows us to trust whatever comes our way. Everything, and I know sometimes this is hard to see, everything is truly for the advancement of our own soul, for the advancement of our life, which affects all life, for the good of life. God is truly present in all things, even when it doesn't look like it. So let's look at omnipotence, the all-powerful nature of God supporting us in our daily lives. When we understand our oneness with it, I mean, think about it. We're talking about the universal power that created and continues to create everything. Galaxies, stars, us, everything. And when I see that little sprout of grass find a way to grow out of that crack in the cement, I am always impressed. Life always finds a way. Life is tenacious. It is not giving up. I know the way that nature expresses itself in and through all life is constant and always moving towards a greater expression of itself. Life, God's Spirit makes it happen. And you and I have that same power within us. I have no idea how to create a galaxy, but I know that I am one with that does know. So tell me this, do you go about your life as if everything is going okay? You just keep on plugging within your comfort zone. And then when something happens that you would rather not experience, you suddenly begin to meditate and pray so that you can tap into that power that's always been there with you all along. The omnipresent, or the omnipotent nature of God, the nature of the divine, is always there. We don't have to always wait until something goes wrong to tap into it. If we lived our lives in the same state of being that we enter into during our time of prayer and meditation, we can bring that same power and presence out into our daily lives every day. What if we lived connected to the power of Spirit in a state of compassion, abundance, wholeness, and love? When we're walking around in our dailiness, I was listening to Michael Beckwith the other day, and he says that when we enter into that state of prayer and meditation often enough, It just becomes the stage upon which we live our lives. I thought that was pretty brilliant. So full awareness of the presence of God and our ability to participate within it is already where we are. We just have to turn our awareness and our attention to the fact that we are one with this presence already. So that when we encounter any change or unexpected situation, we're filled to overflowing with the flow of life, the power of God, that's living in and participating with us all the time when we come into an alignment with an embodiment of this truth. The all-powerful nature of God is the all-powerful nature of us. So lastly, I want to talk about the all-knowing or omniscient nature of God and how it can support us in our daily lives. How can the all-knowingness of God be present in our regular, ordinary day-to-day lives? We may not be consciously aware of how the order and the harmony and the expression of God makes its way into the world, but we're a part of that does. And that connection allows us to tap into it when we need it. I was reading Holmes the other day, and I noticed that he brilliantly speaks about the will of God. He wrote that true prayer must be thy will be done. And that always threw me a little bit, but he's not talking about turning our authority over to something outside ourselves. He's talking about the will of God is always good. And so if our prayer is thy will be done, then our prayer is for the expression of good. Thy will be done. Spirit, through the operation of law, will bring that good to us. We have to hold the intention in our thoughts and our feelings and our pattern of being. But if we want to live love in our lives, then we become love. We step into that feeling and that all-knowingness of love. If we want to demonstrate tripping on my own words, prosperity, then we must pray abundance through the embodiment of how it feels to be abundant. The will of life is life. And everything moves in the direction of life, of love, to create and support the full expression of this loving power and presence of life, of God. And we're one with that. We're one with that all-knowing nature of the divine. And I think sometimes we forget that we are in the all presence of the divine. We are in the all power of the divine, and we are in the all knowingness of the divine. We're not separate from it in any way. And that we, in our connection, can call upon that, participate with that whenever we choose. That is the whole point of this philosophy that we live, is to connect with that and know our oneness. So this week, I invite you to look for, to think about, and to feel this omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient power of spirit right where you are all the time, in whatever comes your way or whatever you're undertaking. And if you find yourself spinning in some situation that comes up, take a deep breath and feel into the nature of who you are. Ask for whatever it is you need to express love in the situation, and participate through your heart and your mind, and the heart and the mind of God within you, with this universal presence, this universal power of love and of law. It is right where you are, and it never abandons us. It is always here. So let's move into a nice deep breath. Let's just surrender to the knowing of who we are and what we are one with. We are one with this all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present, essence of life. We call it God, we call it spirit, we call it the all that is. We call it beauty, we call it love and creativity, we call it wisdom, we call it order and harmony, we call it law. And we are one with it. We live our lives in it. It can be no other way. And so I speak my word for and about each and every person that is present here on this Zoom call, and each and every one that belongs to our community that is not on this call, and each and every person that lives on this blessed Mother Earth that we inhabit as earthlings. That there's a shift, that there is a knowing that we are one with everything. There is a trust and a flow and an infinite movement and motivation to express the love that is already within us, to express the goodness that is already within us, to express the abundance that is already within us, to connect with all life, all the birds and the fish and the creatures that are all around us, all the plants and the wonders of this beautiful planet that we live on and of life itself. I'm so grateful for this knowing. I'm so grateful for all of you on this call. I'm so grateful for life. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I know that there is an ever-moving process that shows me what I don't know and that I never imagined possible. And that I live and move in it and just live in pure joy in it. So I just relax in knowing that this is all true, that everything that I have set into motion by my word in union with my oneness with the only power there is, that all is well. I release this prayer. I just say thank you and allow it to be. And I let God do God's work because I've done mine. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is. So I've been thinking, I don't know why all month this idea has been just really prevalent for me, that as we look at nature, the thing that we see is the all-presence, the all-powerful, and the all-knowing life behind it. And that for me has been the greatest lesson, that we can't deny it. All we have to do is look at our world and the way that it runs and this beautiful order and harmony that we see everywhere. So that has been my real epiphany, my real knowing this month. And I'm so grateful for this theme. And I am going to go run off and play with my family next week. And our wonderful, brilliant, wise Reverend Leslie Massapus is going to bring you the Sunday message next week. So you get a treat. And I'm so grateful for Leslie for doing that. So right now is our time for conscious giving. And I know you hear this every week, but you know, we still have things that we have to pay for, and God is still the supply of everything. So I am inviting you to participate in that flow of giving and receiving through supporting the spiritual community, online community that you are a part of. And I know that all of you, many of you do already. And I want to be real clear that I'm so grateful that all of us in our community are grateful that we can continue to do what we do because of your givingness and the givingness of spirit. So I'm going to turn this over to Rob, who is our I knew you were going to do that. He didn't know. It's his turn to do our benediction in our sacred giving time. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Rob. But you know, you are so good at like, you know, just kind of jumping in and being there that I know you're going to be fine.
Yeah, all is well. And as far as the message for giving message is concerned, you've already done all the heavy lifting. So I'm in good shape here. So if you would like to help keep the One Heart, One Mind show on the air, and I know you would like to do that, here's your big chance. We have a couple, Michelle, if you can put up the slides so I know what I'm doing here.
Yes.
There are two recommended ways to give to One Heart, One Mind, and they are there. They are. One is to give through Venmo. That seems to be the popular way of choice. But if you don't feel like doing that, or you haven't figured it out yet, you can send a check to our assistant treasurer, Jim Massapust, and his address is on the chat. If you just press that button, you can see how to get your check to Jim. Jim's a good guy. He doesn't embezzle or anything, so all of your money will go directly to the One Heart, One Mind General Fund, and your board thanks you very, very much. Next slide.
Yeah, I like that in assistant treasurer, somebody that doesn't embezzle.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the job requirements, but he does a good job of not embezzling. And so, if you would join me in saying our sacred giving declaration here, I recognize that all supply flows from the divine givingness of spirit. My gift is a continuation of this divine flow. I give and receive from this infinite supply. I give in faith, in love, and in joy, and it flows back to me in kind, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Rob. And Yvonne, do we have any announcements? You're muted, honey.
I figured that out. I want you all to know that my dog Siri has been sitting right here the whole time, listening to this and watching. So thank you, Lisa. Anyway, I have down here that we're not doing the Monday night prayer, but is that incorrect?
Yeah, we're not doing the Tuesday night, but
Monday night we are. So that's the prayer.
Look it online. Yeah. Monday
Yeah, for one heart, one mind, and that's from 6 to about 6:20 on Monday evening. It's really worth your 20 minutes to come there, and it really helps our center. So please do. And we decided nothing on Tuesday night, not meeting this week, because we finished the spiritual economics book. And so we're just going to take a little break. And that leads me right into the topics or ideas that you might have for things that you would like to do in a class, like we've had our Tuesday night class. And you don't have to have specifics, even if you just have some really interesting ideas. All you need to do is talk to Reverend Michelle. We're really looking for getting the information to us so that we give you what is important to you. And then on September 17th, at this point, September 17th, we are going to have Bunko at the community room at Maureen and Robert's address, and we'll be able to tell you that address in the newsletter. So, but put it on your calendar now. It's really fun, and it's a great fundraiser and fundraiser, and that's all I have.
Oh, thank you. And then when I come back the week after next, I think on Tuesday, I think I'd like to just do a session on just prayer. Let's just talk about prayer and how we can really use affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment in our life, and we'll pray for each other. So that's what I think will be Tuesday after next. And then, yeah, like Yvonne said, just pop me a text, say, hey, this is what I'm interested in. I'd like to know more about forgiveness, meditation, visioning, whatever it is, or, how to live in the world. I don't know, whatever you want to know. And we'll see if we can find a class or a workshop or something that addresses that, and we can explore that together. So thank you so much. I am going to invite Rob again to do our benediction. And then after the benediction, Tony, if you could just lead us in whatever beautiful music you're going to lead us in to close out.
All right. So I invite you, if you'd like, to relax, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just know with me that this has been a good experience. This has been a blessed experience. This has been an opportunity for us to remember, to feel the goodness of the support that we have, the support of the earth, the support of all that is, that gives us the life that we have, to be so grateful for the fact that our thoughts, the thoughts that we entertain, the thoughts that we hold within us, produce the experiences that we have, produce the life that we get to live. And so we get to live whatever life we wish. And the life that we wish is filled with the love of God. It's filled with the joy of God. It's filled with the goodness of God. And it is so grand and so wonderful. And I am just delighted that this is the opportunity we have. Thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for all of this goodness and this chance to be together as one and know the truth. I release my word to the universe. I let it be. I let it go. And as the one that we are, we say, and so it is.
I can pray. You are such a powerful prayer. I love to listen to you pray. Thank you, Rob, so much. And thank you, Tony. Let's have some music.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright blessed days and dark sacred nights. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, Tony. That was beautiful. And thank you all for this beautiful service today, for contributing. We'll